After nearly 3 decades covering the Buffalo Bills, this guy knows what he's talking about. Welcome to SalSpeak, the place to be for hard-hitting analysis from Sal Maiorana of the Democrat and Chronicle.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SalSpeak. I am Sal Maiorana, and I am with Leo Roth today from downtown Rochester, cold and blustery and blizzardly.
Snowy downtown.
Yeah. Lovely commute back from Buffalo yesterday for both Leo and I in the snowstorm, and today wasn't much better for me coming from Wayne County.
It snowed after Sunday's game too.
I know. What's going on? We got spoiled last year.
That was great.
That was a great winter last year.
I'm not looking forward to this Sunday either.
No, because we go to
the game too.
Yeah, the big battle of Lake Erie this week, folks. Cleveland Browns coming to New Era Field to play the Buffalo Bills, and hey, it's $5 at StubHub. Get your tickets; they're hot. $10 for lower bowl, Leo.
Oh my God!
So that's a good deal if you want to go sit in
cold. You've looked them up?
Yeah, I've looked them up. Cold and rainy weather is expected on Sunday for a game that means absolutely nothing if you're the Buffalo Bills. For the Cleveland Browns, Leo, this game means something because they are chasing history, 13 consecutive losses, and only one team in NFL history has gone 0-16, the Detroit Lions in 2008. So in a game that really lacks any intrigue at all as far as the standings go, that is the one nugget that I think makes this game semi-compelling. What do you think?
It makes it interesting, yeah. And yesterday, Marcel Darius issuing a guarantee that they're not going to lose, and the Browns' Joe Thomas saying, yeah, we'll see about that. So they got a little bit of some chatter going on, which is neat. As far as the Bills go, though, Sal, I mean, if they truly do care about the players' own futures and Rex Ryan's future, it does mean something to them too. Right. Probably, of course, the big firestorm again is the impending futures of Tyrod Taylor and Rex Ryan. Hey, I mean, if they can win these last three, it's probably the only thing that's going to save him is to look good in these last three games.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe it could? Because it's a long ways that it's looking pretty like he's going to be replaced, but nobody knows that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I said that in jest. Obviously, the game does mean something for the Bills. They're playing for their future employment here in Buffalo, and Rex Ryan certainly is coaching for his future. Now, there's been a lot of conflicting reports, Leo, regarding Rex's future. Now, some people say that, if he wins out, he finishes 9-7, that the Bills aren't going to fire him. Other people have said that the decision's already been made. They're just going to play it out, and they want to move on from Rex. I guess it just isn't working as far as some of these sources are concerned. I don't know. I'm not really sure which way the Bills are going to go. Even if he does win out, maybe they fire him. But I don't know, Leo. If they went out and go 9-7. Why would you fire Rex Ryan?
Yeah.
Why would you fire him?
Well, I think the one report last Sunday was very premature about it happening as soon as Monday.
Yeah, we knew that was not going to happen.
There's another one out today. It'll happen this Monday. I mean, you can almost throw anything out there. Eventually, you're going to be right. It's going to be one of these Mondays. I think, from what I've been told, I think that, as always, they're going to have an end of the season review. The season's going to end New Year's Day. They're going to meet as an organization the following week, and Terry Pegula, who's a very step-by-step kind of guy, if you followed the Sabres at all in his ownership there, not a knee-jerk. It takes a long time for this guy to make a move, and they're going to go through this after the season and go through top to bottom and see what if the relationship between Whaley and Doug Whaley and Rex Ryan can continue. I don't believe it's that. Do you honestly believe it's that acrimonious where they can't work together anymore?
Well, the problem is we never see Doug Whaley.
No.
That's what's hard about this. Back in the old days, we would see the general manager around the team. For that matter, we'd see the owner around the team. We never see the Pegulas at all.
No.
They don't speak to the media really about anything, so we don't know which way the wind is blowing at the ownership level, and we never see Doug Whaley to really get a sense of his relationship with Rex. Rex will say in his pressers when he's asked about it, yeah, Doug and I speak every day. But we don't know, like you said, if it's acrimonious or if they actually do get along and agree on things. I just don't have a good idea. But more and more I hear is that Whaley is having similar problems with Rex Ryan that he did with Doug Marrone. All that tells me is the common thread there is Doug Whaley. Why can't Doug Whaley get along with the head coaches? I don't know. But apparently Rex Ryan will be the guy who pays the price.
Well, Marone was a guy that was a little bit more in Marone's face. I know that he was a little bit. He wanted more of a hand in personnel. Rex is right. I mean, let's back this train up. I mean, Russ Brandon and Doug Whaley were part of the process in hiring Doug Marone. You would think that was their guy that they could work with.
Right.
They vet these guys. They see if they get along. They know if the personalities a little bit. Obviously, a lot of things changed there. Same with Rex Ryan. Some of the stuff that happened behind the scenes in order to get Rex hired. I went back this week and looked at some of the reporting at the time that we had done and others had done, and there was over a dozen candidates that they were considering, which is a high number. But they quickly zeroed in on Rex Ryan.
Don't let him out of the building or
yes,
off the yacht.
Don't let him out of the building. Russ Brandon texting Rex, coaching him on how to interview with Pagula. The owner likes red wine.
That was a classic.
I mean, these things that's a little bit unusual. Mm-hmm. But what Brandon and Whaley were saying, in essence, is that Rex is our guy. This is a guy that, from Brandon's take, not only can I market this guy's personality, which happened,
right?
But 1-2 number record season ticket sales. Rex paid for his salary in ticket sales alone, mm-hmm. which is phenomenal.
Which is why they can eat $16.5 million if they fire him.
Yeah. The other part is that they really thought that here's a guy that he would be okay to work with our decisions on our personnel from Whaley's standpoint. Now, clearly the quarterback is the big, a coach and a quarterback. They're tied together. Rex didn't like what he had in E.J. Manuel. Mm-hmm. Clearly they went out and he did like what he knew from his Baltimore ties, what he saw in Tyrod Taylor. Now that seemed to be, and that's all okay. It seemed like, okay, Whaley, they went out and they made that happen. They acquired him as a free agent. They had an open tryout, maybe. I think he liked Tyrod right from the start. But it seems like they were working together here. Yeah. Now, how does it fall apart that quickly? And then we also know that they talk every Monday. They're all together. The Pagulas, Brandon.
Leo, I think the biggest problem with the Bills is that there's just so many egos always in play over there, right? They have not had that symbiotic relationship really since Marv Levy and Bill Polian.
Marvin Polian and Ralph had that trio.
They shared a brain, basically.
There was a lot of respect for each other there too. Yeah. A lot of respect, and maybe it had to do with them being, there was, Ralph was the older gentleman, the owner, and age-wise, Marv was in between, and then it was Bill. And there was this respect that was just overwhelming. I mean, Polian and Levy, they were football guys, and they had each washed each other's back along the way in their careers for hires, and they were very instrumental in each other's lives. So they don't have that. What's happening now over at One Bulls Drive is not happening, and it's a strange deal. It's also a strange deal in that Pagula's also won the Sabres. It's very complicated.
It is.
And Russ Brandon is head of that team as well as the president. I see a lot of self-preservation going on. I see a lot of guys, throwing people under the bus here. When it comes to Rex Ryan, and I know you're a Rex Ryan fan. I think you like him as a
I like him as a guy, and I think he can coach.
I think he can coach as well. If you talk around the league, Rex Ryan, even his brother Rob, they are respected as coaches, and they're lifers. The blood of Buddy Ryan. Come on, we're going to make the change again, and I'm not advocating for the change. I'm advocating, I think, for some stability at least. Mm-hmm. Give them the 3.
I know. That's what I don't like about
this. Or it all has to change.
Leo,
I think we've said that Sunday. It's either they all stay or they all go. But one can't. Whaley. How does Whaley, who's been here 7 years, survive this? How does Brandon, who's been here going on 20, survive this?
I've been on this train really in the last few weeks because it has come up even before the report last Sunday. Is Rex on the hot seat? And I just did not understand why Rex Ryan would be the guy after 2 years, not even 2 years, in this organization where Doug Whaley has lorded over, which is going to be 7 years now, of no playoffs. Why does this guy keep getting a pass? Well, the reason is apparently the Pagulas love him. The Pagulas, like they love Russ Brandon, who, by the way, has made them gobs of money. Let's face it, Russ has made the Pagulas money in the way he has run the Buffalo Bills. That's a big part of why they love him so much.
I get what you're saying, Sal, yes, but when a guy's a billionaire, does it really matter who makes the money?
But he's a businessman. He's a businessman. He doesn't want to lose money.
Yeah, well, and he won't, because that franchise won't. It's just the mere fact you're in this fraternity of the NFL.
Right. But Russ is the overseer of the entire Pagula empire right now. So they're not going to fire that guy. They've got the Buffalo Bills because of Russ Brandon. Russ Brandon steered that whole committee towards away from Donald Trump, our future president, to the Pagulas. I mean, they are indebted to Russ Brandon basically got the Pagulas into the NFL from the minor leagues of the NHL into the big leagues of the NFL. So he's not going anywhere.
No, he did. Russ Brandon did broker that whole sale. Absolutely.
Doug Whaley, on the other hand,
on behalf of Mary Wilson.
Right.
Okay, let's leave Russ out of this for a minute. We do know that he's got a great business sense, and he's done some wonderful things in a small market, especially back in the Ralph Wilson days.
The team is still here because of Russ's work.
Believe me, in the late 90s and all that was going on then, absolutely. We have to focus on the work that Whaley's done and how has he ingratiated himself to the new owner. A lot of it goes to the Pennsylvania ties, the Pittsburghs, and all this other stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I think there's a big difference between liking someone personally. Hey, we get along, and they're good at in meetings or cocktail parties or on the yacht down in Florida, and the hard decisions on identifying a coach and a quarterback. The track record of Whaley and Brandon, but mostly of Whaley as the charge, it allows you track record of identifying your coach and your quarterback.
That's exactly right. Let's face it, we wouldn't be having this conversation today if Tyrod Taylor could play, right? I mean, if Tyrod Taylor was a competent quarterback, Rex Ryan and the Bills would be winning.
Rex wouldn't be on the hot seat.
Right.
We wouldn't be back at this crossroads of where's it going?
Which brings me back to the point of why are you firing Rex Ryan? He was 8-8 last year. Okay, he could be 9-7 this year if they win out. He has not had a quarterback his entire head coaching career. He had nobody with the Jets. He now has nobody with the Bills. But this guy will end up being the fall guy. Meanwhile, Doug Whaley, for whatever reason, is going to skate right through. Do you honestly trust Doug Whaley to pick the next coach and the next quarterback of this team? Of course not.
Absolutely not.
So I say, if you're going to fire Rex Ryan, fire them all. Start over, purge the organization. I don't care if Russ Brandon's still there. That's fine with me. But the football operation, Leo, there's cancer in there. There is cancer in there, and you got to cut it out. If you're going to fire Rex, I think you need to fire them all. One of the problems with the Pagulas, Leo, they're too nice. I think they're too nice. Rex Ryan has 27 assistant coaches. He asked for whatever he asked for. The Pagulas have given him. They give the Sabres anything they need. Maybe they need to be more hardline and say, you know what? No, we're not going to do that. But I think they're so damn nice, and I think they get taken advantage of by these football people, and that's part of the problem. I know one thing, Jerry Jones, he's not a yes man, right? Bob Kraft isn't.
No.
Dan Rooney, or whoever's running the Steelers these days, he's kind of old and out of it, but the Rooney family, hardline people, right?
But you're talking about different backgrounds altogether. All those guys you just mentioned, football families, football men, and we've talked about this before. There's no financial incentive in the NFL for these owners. They're all wealthy. They're all going to make money. They're all insulated because of profit sharing and on and on and on, and the TV deal and the $9 billion a year business and all this other good stuff. The only thing that motivates a guy is I want to beat you. Bob Kraft wants to beat everybody in the AFC East, and he does. Jerry Jones, whatever your opinion, he wants to win, and he does the things. Well, especially this year, not for a while. They want, again, the only motivation is you have to want to beat the other guy and make the moves necessary, the hard decisions that it takes in the arena of coach and quarterback and GM, and do those things. Terry Pagula has no background in football. No. Basically, he's a hockey fan. He's not even really a football fan. Yeah. Buying the Bills, God bless him. They did keep him here.
He's the owner of the Buffalo Bills.
But there were other suitors for the Bills. So.
He's the owner of the Buffalo Bills, Leo, for two reasons. He's a businessman, so he saw the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And he's a very rich man who could afford to buy the Bills.
Who overpaid for them.
Who overpaid big time for them.
And won the war, the bidding war. So good for him. Hey, they at some point, yes, they do have to realize that, because I think it's not going to just go on this forever. At some point, fans, there's got to be some backlash. I wrote it last Sunday. At some point, the Pegula's got to show, are they serious about winning a championship for Western New York? Otherwise, they're just going to be, what, Mr. and Mrs. Nice? The couple in Western New York, the power couple. We don't care about that.
We appreciate all the Pegulas have done for Western New York, but certainly for Buffalo, downtown Buffalo, the revitalization, Harbor Center, all that stuff. The fact that both of these teams are still in Buffalo, because there was talk the Sabres were going to leave, and there was certainly talk the Bills were going to leave. So we thank them profusely for buying the two franchises.
And however, here they saved the Amerks as well.
And they did. However, they've owned the Sabres since 2011, 0 playoff appearances. They've owned the Bills since the middle of 2014, 0 playoff appearances. At some point, the fans are going to say, you know what, we thank you very much, but bring us a winner. And they have not been able to do it.
Right.
Firing Rex Ryan, I don't think is going to be the reason why the Bills all of a sudden turn it around. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'll tell you what, if like I said, if they fire Rex, fire them all, and then you've got a better chance, I think, Leo, to turn it around with a fresh outlook on it.
Well, and the other thing that's interesting is that I think in Terry Pegula's gut, he twice now he's sought out outside advice in the form of Bill Polian, and last spring I think it was with Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin left a quote that was very telling when it came out when he was asked, and he said, "Very nice meetings. Everything looked pretty good until I started asking questions." That to me was just, you know, who has the owner's ear? Doug Whaley. Mm-hmm. Doug Whaley will do anything in his power to save himself, and he's not going to let Tom Coughlin have a say in this organization. Right. It's self-preservation, and it's hurting this football team. Terry Pegula desperately needs somebody to give him some guidance. And the two guys that have his ear are not the two guys. And that all said, I do not want to see either the blow up, I'm with you, either the blow up or we stay the course at least one more year, give Rex a chance to do what he does best, and that's defense. The injuries on the team this year, sabotaged a lot of what he wanted. The suspension of Darius gave him half a year. And then losing Ragland and then Shaq Lawson as two top picks. And they also need to do a little bit more in free agency. I think they really thought this defense was better than it was. Right. They got rid of Mario. They thought they were going to have addition by subtraction there. Really, and they got a couple of career years out of Lorenzo Alexander and Zach Brown.
Who were one-year Band-Aids,
those are just stopgaps, yes. And then their two corners both regressing, not having. And you know what? I don't blame the coaches for that. Sometimes it just happens.
Sometimes the players got to step up.
Sometimes they got to play better. What was Gilmore's problem all year? Not covering as well as he should.
He's played better lately.
He has played better lately. Darby's second year, he's going to struggle a little bit, but he's not. He's a good player too. And the other thing is that they've had so many injuries at the safety position. They don't have a stud safety. They need a stud safety. They got to hope Ragland recovers and can be that stud linebacker.
Well, we can have a whole show on what they need.
Well, that they need. So I'm just saying, let Rex do his thing on defense, because the story of these last 2 weeks is the collapse of the defense in their two biggest games of the year, right. Raiders and Steelers, total collapse. That's what put Rex on the hot seat.
Exactly.
Now, had they won those games, a totally different conversation going on right now. I say let him have it. He's got to fix the quarterback. If it means going after one of the, I don't think Tony Romo would ever come to Buffalo. If it means going after one of those guys, I don't want Kaepernick either.
No way.
Romo was an intrigue. Hey, they got the money to go after the guy.
Yeah, they do.
You're
right. I don't think he's coming to Buffalo.
I don't think he's coming to Buffalo.
Jay Cutler, maybe. I don't know. A lot of baggage with that guy.
Then try.
I'm not sure that's the answer.
I know you got a story come out with Manuel. I think the ship has sailed on Manuel. And I think he got he was totally hosed over in his career, going back to the Marone decisions and on and on. And then Cardell Jones, interesting, would be very raw. I don't know if they would give him the chance to have a whole rookie season. Can they get him?
Doug Whaley said he's not playing this year. He's not ready.
Well, not this year. Next year.
They're hoping he can at least compete.
Can they give him a Dak Prescott kind of lift? They certainly didn't. The Dallas Cowboys didn't think that at all this year. I don't know.
The reason I
Everything is here. It's so much work over the last 2 years. You're going to blow it up and start over? I don't want to see it.
Believe in Cardell Jones is because Doug Whaley made the evaluation. That's why
boy.
I don't. The Dallas Cowboys
Great
made
point.
the evaluation on Prescott. Doug Whaley and his crew made the
point.
evaluation on Cardell Jones.
All
right, you want to move on from this?
All right.
I don't know if we put people to sleep with our conversation, but we'll talk about the game briefly because, like we said, at the top, there is a little bit of intrigue. It's Cleveland and Buffalo, natural rivals along Lake Erie, and the fact that the Browns are they're stumbling into potential history here. Inside that locker room, you were in there yesterday with me, Leo, I got a real sense that the Bills are on point this week because they don't want to be the team that loses to the Cleveland Browns and becomes their first victim of the year. So I think the Bills will come out. I think they're going to play pretty well. I think they will win the game, too. There's a couple intriguing factors that go into it. One, for me, is the fact that Robert Griffin is playing quarterback for the Browns. I'm very interested to see him. It was too bad. He came to the Browns. He got hurt in the very first game, and he just got back into action. I think, was it last week was his first game back?
Mm-hmm,
so he's back. I want to see what he looks like. And I'll also be very curious to see what happens with Tyrod Taylor. Now, there was this news last week about this clause in Tyrod's contract that if he were to get hurt at the end of this season and still be hurt and in a rehab mode in March when they have to pick up the contract extension, the Bills are on the hook for $27.5 million, all of which goes against the salary cap.
Yeah.
If you're Rex Ryan, now they have a 1% chance of making the playoffs. So I guess you can't technically take out Tyrod, then you're raising the white flag. If he plays like he's played lately, which is not good, okay, next week when the Bills are going to be out of the playoffs, what do? Do you risk putting Tyrod Taylor back on the field? Or do you just let EJ play the last 2 games and be done with it?
Well, I guess at that point I'd play a lot of people I want to see.
Right. But specifically on the quarterback.
On the quarterback thing, I'd put Jones in. I'd rather see him than EJ because EJ's moving on.
Right, but if Whaley has already said he's not playing because he's not ready, what do?
What does Whaley have to? I mean, I know Rex does have the final say if he's still coaching. Mm-hmm.
I'll be interested though. Yeah. I'll be very interested to see what happens. I mean, Rex says, he gives us the best chance to win. Yeah. Obviously, Rex wants to win all these games for his own record and future employment, hopefully. But the Buffalo Bills have a business decision to make with Tyrod Taylor.
The money, the Taylor, the the $27.5 million is covered by insurance. So that's not the money itself isn't.
Right.
The cap is the big issue.
The thing.
And that would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be.
Can you imagine paying a guy who stinks, who's not even on your team, $27.5 million to count against your cap? That'd be a bad look for the Bills.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. I'd be worried about it if I was Buffalo.
You know what? I guess, boy, what an interesting story that would have been had, say they were in the playoff hunt right to the very final game and they play him and he got hurt.
Right.
And he's still, I guess they just.
Well, to be honest, Leo, it's a non-story if the Bills have already determined that Tyrod's their guy and they're going to pick it up. I doubt that's the case, though. I'm pretty sure they've decided he's not their guy. So that's why these last 2 games after this week are intriguing. I really think they're going to move on. No matter who the coach and GM here is in 2017, I think they've seen enough from Tyrod Taylor. I doubt they're going to pick up that money. But, like I said, if he was going to be their guy for sure, they'd play him and it's no big deal. But I think it's going to be very intriguing for the last 2 weeks for sure to see what happens.
Be a big deal ahead. He got hurt and they're carrying him on their cap next year.
Right.
That's here and there, but you know what's all? It's just lump it into all the weirdness and the craziness that are the one of the worst professional football teams to ever grace the planet.
Yeah,
and so I don't know. I was listening to our colleague Bob Matthews last night again. He says, if they go 9-7, why is everyone going crazy? He makes a good point. Did anybody really think the Bills were going to the playoffs and go and run at the Super Bowl? This team?
I said they'd be 8-8.
Yeah. So are we? Why are they're right on course to being what they were? We had mapped this thing out many weeks ago. These are the key games. The Raiders, the Steelers. The Bengals were a key game. They won it. There wasn't a whole lot of keys. There was and that's what in essence that's what a football season comes down to. Anyone can go 8-8. The Bills prove it every year. They can go 9-7. It's winning that 1 or 2 key games
that puts you over the top.
It puts you over the hump and makes you all of a sudden You're a playoff team. You're 10-6. You're 11-5. You're pretty good. Things are great. It's so to be that close. And I think I'm going to segue into what the Browns are doing. I think it's the worst place to be in hockey, basketball, and all these sports is to be middling, to be in the middle of the road, 500. You think you're not that far away. The NFL is worse because it's only those 16 games. And I tell you what, when you're 8-8, there's a lot of guys thinking, man, we're not that far away.
Yeah.
And when you're 9-7, man, we're not that far away. And winning that extra game or two, really, it's miles away.
It is.
And
it really is.
The danger is that they keep doing the same thing. They try to retool with maybe, we got to have a good draft. Maybe they get a guy or two. Then everyone goes to the old free agent well, overpays for guys that are all on the downside of their careers, and they screw up their salary cap, and then it goes all around in this vicious cycle of mediocrity.
Yep.
Segue to the Cleveland Browns. They said enough. They tore it all down. They went into last year's draft and traded away the farm, stockpiled 6-7 picks for next year. They got Philly's number one. They got their own number one, which is going to be number one overall, and they got Tennessee's second rounder. They got big picks coming up.
Yep.
They got some people in place. They have a good coach in Hugh Jackson. They got some executives that DePotesta is the Moneyball fame guy. They're going a different route. They didn't want to be 0-13, but you know what?
It might all be worth it in the end, is what they're saying.
In the end, and especially in that division as well, the AFC North,
there's no Patriots.
those teams are going down.
division.
Those teams are going down a little bit.
But there's no Patriots,
Steelers,
Leo.
Ravens, and Bengals have all drafted poorly lately, and their future doesn't look all that great, where Cleveland's does. Interesting. And yes, no Patriots in their division.
Yeah. Bills are always facing a huge challenge to get a wild card spot because they're going against 12 other teams to try to get 2 wild card spots. They never have a chance to win the AFC East. Cleveland is in a division where they could have a chance to win that division down the road. It'll be very interesting Sunday. If you're going to be out there, enjoy the game. Bills and Browns have played some legendarily horrible football games. That could very well happen this week. I think the Bills will play pretty well, Leo. I think they're going to win.
I think so, too.
I don't think it's going to be a full house out there, but enjoy it if you're going to be there. Stay warm. It's supposed to be 35, rain, and snow. Great day. Typical day for a Lake Erie battle, right?
I like it.
All right. And hope you enjoyed the show, folks. I'll be back on Monday with my podcast on iTunes. Look for that. Type in SalSpeak. And then we'll be back here, I believe, next Thursday for the next edition of the SalSpeak Facebook Live version. For Leo Roth, I'm Sal Maiorana. Have a great day.